Today I'm going to talk about when seasons start to transition and there's overlap in the seasons of our lives as leaders. If you have not followed the last 4 weeks worth of videos, I've done a series of 4 videos on the 4 different seasons of a leader's growth and development. And they're fascinating and very, very important to understand so that we know the purpose of where we're at this point in time. We know what to look for. We know the fruit that we're supposed to be looking for in order to gain the seeds for the next season. It helps to decrease anxiety, increase intentionality, increase focus so that we know where we're supposed to be spending our time and our energies and our focus. It is so important that we recognize our seasons. But today I want to talk about the overlap of those seasons. How do you know when you're in transition from one to the next? My name is Paul Lemire. I'm founder of Lemire Leadership, and this is your leadership lesson of the week. If you've been with me up to this point and you've seen all of these videos, thank you. And I hope they've added a lot of value to you and given you a lot of clarity. Feel free to come back to these, share them with others who you recognize are struggling because they don't understand the season that they're in. When you're transitioning, it's like the natural weather. We're in February right now when I'm filming this. And we've had a beautiful, beautiful week, and the snow is almost completely gone. Even some of the bulbs are starting to pop. And if I'm not careful psychologically, I am ready for spring. But I know from all of my years in New England that this is the false spring. But you can pay attention to these things because when you start to have some of these spring days that are warmer after a season of winter per se, you're starting to bridge and make that connection. This is a good time to spend some time thinking, intentionally thinking, giving yourself grace to sit down in a chair for an hour, sometimes take a day out in the wilderness, go out for a hike with your journal or your phone and be jotting down ideas, mind mapping, and really getting clear. This is really important because when that environment is more sustained and you know that spring has actually arrived or summer has actually arrived or the harvest is actually here, then you know that you're in that next new season. The last thing I want to talk about are supernatural seasons. And if you're a kingdom leader, many of my followers are, this is where the real meat is. This is where God steps in and accelerates time. He says, it's time to make up for lost time, son, or it's time to make up for lost time, daughter. I'm going to step in and I'm going to give you 2 harvests in one season. Or I'm gonna take you from the startup phase, which is the season of struggle, the beginning phase, and I'm going to launch you right into harvest. Or I'm going to keep you in an extended period of winter because this is really, really important to build you and to develop you. And then I'm just going to launch you and you're going to fly and there's going to be overlap in other seasons. Isaac, we saw this happen when he experienced 100-fold harvest in a time of famine when there was nothing growing. So this is where it's so important to remember as leaders that ultimately we need to be resting in the Lord. We need to be aware that He lives outside of time. See, we live in this realm of time, and we want to take our purpose and try to fit it into the time that we have. But God does it the other way around. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, He talks about there being a time and a purpose for each season. He sees the purpose and He embeds it within time where it's best fit for that purpose to be. So it's very different and very opposite of how our minds work. And it's not always linear. All right. Remember, God is outside of time. He can be 2,000 years ago and jump, 100 years into the future where our great grandchildren are going to be and start depositing things in ways that we can't fathom. And that's the beauty of being able to serve Him and walk our lives out with Him, especially in terms of being able to help develop His people as His leaders. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Reach out. You can find more information about me and Lemire Leadership Solutions on our website, lemireleadership.com. You can check them out in the comment section, and we'll see you next week.